Over the last several sessions, we've been talking about planning your non-billable time in particular, and this session I want to focus on goals. And I'm going to share with you how I set goals, and hopefully this will give you an idea of things that will work for you. You've probably heard the expression SMART goals, and SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time. And that's a good way to think about goals. If they're ambiguous, you're really not likely to achieve them. If they're not achievable or they're not realistic, you'll quit. If you have no time set, you likely will give yourself a pass. So it's very, very important that you have specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound goals. That's how I used to focus on it. Now, when I thought about goals, I actually decided I would have some really long-term goals. So I had life goals. What do I want to achieve in my life? And I got the idea, believe it or not, from the movie Indiana Jones. I learned after the first Indiana Jones movie that the real character Indiana Jones was based on actually had life goals. Now his life goals were nothing like what I wanted to do in my life, but it gave me the idea of focusing on the longer term. What do I want to do in my life? And I actually broke down those goals into 4 categories. And I got that idea from several books as well. The categories included physical, economic, what I wanted to learn or grow, my relationships, and spiritual, those 4 categories. Once I broke those down, I could make sure that I was operating on all cylinders and not just focusing on just one thing. So when I set goals for the year, I'd first just brainstorm ideas. Write down as many things as I can think of. Then I rank them. This is more important than that. I also combine them. Some of those, should be combined. Then the next thing I ask myself is, why is this particular goal important? The reason I ask that is if I don't have a good answer to it, then I won't make the commitment and I won't have the discipline to actually see it through. So sometimes when I ask why it's important, that leads me to a second why question. In other words, why is that important? So that's the approach you should take. Make your list, figure out the priority, combine those that should be combined, ask yourself why it's important. The next thing I ask myself is, what are the obstacles I have to overcome? For me, the greatest obstacle is I like to start things. I'm not so great at finishing things. So I have to make sure that I'm going to have some system in place to overcome that particular obstacle. The next question I ask myself is, who can help me? Who in my firm, who outside my firm can actually help me achieve those goals? The next question is, what's my first step? What is the first action item to get started? And then, as we've talked about in other sessions, I start breaking things down. What am I doing 90 days? What am I doing 30 days? What's my game plan for the week? So if you want to actually have goals that you will enjoy and actually achieve, you might take this very same process. Start with SMART goals, break them down, and actually have a game plan each week.